I tried to do something really cool to start the stream off and it didn't work. So, hello everyone. How are you doing? My name is Matthew. It's nice to be here with y'all. I wanted to do a little stream considering I haven't done a stream in I would say probably years. I don't know. It's been quite some time, but I wanted to do a stream today and as often as I guess I feel like it. Just to talk about things that's going on in the gaming world or sports or entertainment, whatever happens to be going on that we feel like we want to talk about. I just wanted to do it. So, going to try to make myself available to do that. About an hour, maybe even less, maybe more. I guess we'll kind of figure that out as time goes by. But nonetheless, I'm here. If you happen to be here and the audio is good, let me know in the chat, whatever chat you're on, whether this is YouTube or on Twitter or on Twitch. Please let me know if you can hear me okay and if the volume works. I do have some music going in the background and I feel like I can hear it, but I'm not sure if it's as good as it needs to be. But we'll work through all those technical issues together. Just let me know if you notice something that sounds a little bit crazy. But no matter what, we're gonna vibe. I got a few things on the schedule that we want to talk about. Thank you, Leah Travis. Sounds good. So yeah, there's a few things on the schedule that I want to talk about, and I actually wanted to go live yesterday, but I wanted to work through some of the technical issues as everyone knows. Technology moves quickly and things change. So the last time I streamed, things were set up a certain way and everything was working wonderfully. Well, today there's been so many updates and so many things that have changed that like it's not the same as it once was. So I had to check all the technical specifications, make sure everything was working, and it seems like everything is working okay now. But at any given point, that could change. But we'll keep an eye on that as well. But yeah, there's some interesting news coming out of the gaming world, and I feel like I always have an opinion on it. And it's one thing to tweet about it or to read the news and formulate an opinion on your own, but it's always good when you can share your opinion and get other people's opinion as well. So I wanted to go over these couple of news stories that have came out, a few that are actually exciting, one that's in my opinion just terrible news. And we can talk about all that together. But the first one, we might as well get into it. And again, if you're here, thank you so much for being here. I will make these videos available in other places so that you can watch it if you happen to miss it as we're doing it live. But thank you so much for being here. But there's a few interesting news stories, and I will try to get this news scene. I created a news scene so that we can kind of read the news together. I just wanted to share it with you because I think some of this news is terrible. So here we go. Let's see if this works. So the first one right here, this is the first news story that we're getting into. So Microsoft recently closed a bunch of video game studios. And what's interesting about it is they had recently bought these studios. Microsoft spent a lot of money to buy Bethesda, which is a huge conglomerate of video game studios. They create a ton of video games. So Microsoft bought them, and at the time it sounded like a really good plan because Phil Spencer, who's the head of Xbox, is a very likable human being. And he made this agreement that he was going to buy this studio and he was going to allow these studios to have their own creative vision. So we were excited about that, but it seems like that wasn't true whatsoever. So we'll look into what's happened here with this news story. And yes, I'm reading this from IGN. It looks like Wesley Yin Poole was the author of this article, and it brings out. It says Microsoft closes Redfall developer Arcane Austin, Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks, and more in devastating cuts at Bethesda. So just as we digest that headline there, Redfall, I think many people know, was a game that came out, I think 1 year ago. And it was like a vampire co-op adventure type game. Never played it. But it wasn't received well by critics. It wasn't received well by gamers, people that bought the game or played it on Game Pass. It seemed unfinished when it released. So Redfall was poorly received, and the Arcane Austin. Arcane is part of the company that made Dishonored, and Dishonored was received very well. So we thought that Redfall would be better than it was, and eventually they created some quality of life updates for Redfall. Redfall got a few updates. They did a 60 frame per second upgrade. They did fixed a lot of the bugs. I think there were some hit detection bugs that they ended up fixing. But Redfall, even through all that, wasn't greatly received. So it was kind of like Redfall was kind of dead on arrival. But when we look at the rest of the headline, Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks, that one is a little bit more confusing to me because Xbox had a showcase recently that discussed that Hi-Fi Rush was making its way to other platforms. So Hi-Fi Rush ended up going to PlayStation, and I thought that they were making a Switch version, but Microsoft has now closed the developer. So it doesn't seem like there will be a Switch version. And also with Redfall, it doesn't seem like there will be any additional content that was promised to buyers. So that's interesting, and more. So we'll get into that as we look through the article. So it brings out Microsoft has closed a number of Bethesda studios, including Redfall maker Arcane Austin, Hi-Fi Rush, and the Evil Within developer Tango Gameworks, and more. IGN can confirm. Alpha Dogs Games, the makers of Mighty Doom, will also close, which was a nice little handheld game. I did play that a little bit. It was just like a little strategy game, I think, on your phone, if I'm remembering exactly what they're talking about. Roundhouse Studios will be absorbed by the Elder Scrolls Online developer ZeniMax Online Studios. And Microsoft, currently valued over $3 trillion, did not say how many staff will lose their job, which I think is a little bit shady. I think if you're going to release those people and have that on the public headline, you should account for how many people are no longer employed because of the decisions that you made. So it says IGN has asked Bethesda for comment. Microsoft declined to expand further when contacted by IGN. Now, IGN, the reason I'm pulling this news source from IGN is because IGN is one of the largest. I don't know if I'd say that they're the most, reputable source, but they are a good source for content about gaming, about what's going on. They have a little bit of clout, I guess you could say, on the game. But they declined to expand further when they were contacted by IGN. So my 2 cents, I don't know what responsibility we hold in this. You know, as people who buy the games, I'm a nobody in the gaming world. I have no clout. I have no say-so on what happens. But what's our responsibility when it comes to video game studios getting closed? Because a lot of times online, what happens is when a game is received poorly, many people will go online and they will dogpile that game. They'll talk about how awful it is, how trash it is, how it's terrible, how the developers needed to do better. And that's what happened with Redfall. Redfall was destroyed by not only critics, but it was also destroyed by the gamers when it landed. And I don't know if that's rightfully so, but it was an incomplete game. And I think that Microsoft admitted that they kind of dropped the ball with that IP. But still, the online trashing of the game, I think, eventually led to its demise. So the game is done for. So did that play a role in Microsoft's decision to get rid of that studio? I don't know. I don't know that we'll ever know, but it does seem peculiar that that studio was one of the ones that was chosen, because Arcane had a good reputation prior to that game. And it's strange to think that this one misstep ended their gaming developing dreams. I don't know. It's interesting. The more confusing one is Hi-Fi Rush. How this game was well received by critics. People loved Hi-Fi Rush when it released, and it was one of those games that was shadow dropped, meaning that when it was released, nobody knew that the game was coming. They had a press conference, I think, that day. They were announcing some upcoming games, and I think one of the final games that they announced was Hi-Fi Rush, and they're like, this game's available today, which was astounding for them to keep this game a secret, and then for the game to be as good as it was. And I've played a little bit of Hi-Fi Rush. I'm really terrible at rhythm games for some reason, so I didn't I didn't make it terribly far in Hi-Fi Rush, but I did enjoy it. It was colorful, it was vibrant, kind of reminded me of Sunset Overdrive, which I loved from the Xbox One. But this game was received well. So what's going on with Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks getting cut as well? That doesn't seem to make sense to me. That's the one that kind of trips me out. And I'm not sure if they're taking those developers and moving them to other projects, or they're just saying, "Hey, you're out of a job. Don't make video games anymore." We don't know the answer to that. But it is interesting that Tango Gameworks was one of the people that was cut when they had such a great game that recently came out that they lost their jobs as well. There was a post from Arcane Studios. It says here, today it was announced that Arcane Austin will close and development will not continue on Redfall. To everyone that supported our work from Austin Studio over the years, thank you. Thank you for spending time in our worlds and making them your own. Arcane Lyon, which is in France, obviously, will continue their focus on immersive experiences where they are hard at work on their upcoming project. Redfall players who purchase the Hero Pass as part of the Premium Bite Back Edition or the Premium Bite Back upgrade will be eligible to receive the value of the upgrade. And then it says, while there will be no further updates, Redfall servers will remain online for players to enjoy. So if you're one of those people that played Redfall and you enjoyed it, I guess you can still do so, but don't expect any updates coming from that studio. It says the reprioritization of titles and resources means a few teams will be realigned to others and that some of our colleagues will be leaving us. So for Bethesda, who's a huge company, it seems like that their focus is going to shift to 3 titles, in my opinion. That's the Elder Scrolls, Starfield, and of course the incredibly popular currently Fallout. I think their focus will be on those three titles and making those the 3 best titles that Bethesda can offer. It seems probably the most logical choice from a business standpoint. For them to choose those 3 titles. Elder Scrolls is huge, Fallout is huge, and Starfield is new and garnering an audience, but it hasn't gained that audience yet. But they spent a lot of money making Starfield, so I'm sure that they'll continue to funnel their resources into continuing Starfield's story. So it's kind of interesting, but it's terribly sad. I'm trying to read the rest of this story and see what other studios fell victim. Roundhouse Games, I think that was the one. Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog Studios. I'm not familiar with them. Alpha Dog. Oh, did I bring that? Yeah, they were the ones that made the Mighty Doom game. Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, Roundhouse Games. They're going to be folded into the Elder Scrolls Online. So those, and it's interesting. So those whose roles will be impacted will be notified today. Y'all don't even let these folks get a 2-week notice or anything like that. It's insane that you can let someone go and they find out the same time that you and I find out. You know, if I got fired from a job, which has happened many times, usually my employer will let me know first, and then the rest of the team will know. But you're allowing the world, and I know Microsoft's a bigger company, but you're allowing the world to find out before the employee themselves finds out. That seems very shady. So it's interesting because, as we can see in this portion right here, it says Microsoft's announcement of the cuts at Bethesda come over 3 months after the company announced plans to cut 1,900 staff from its video game workforce. So this is in addition to the 1,900 that already made, that the 1,900 cuts that were already made. It appears that they're continuing to make cuts and continuing to let people go. So is it because people aren't buying games as much as they used to? I know that some video game CEOs make $20-30 million a year. So I'm just curious if y'all could take a couple dollars out of your paycheck and put it towards these people that you let go. Maybe you could keep them for another year, another 2, and see if their projects that they're working on could be successful. I don't know. It's just a thought, but I'm not a CEO. I'm just a guy in a basement. So I guess we'll see. But this is very sad news. And for me, I'm curious how this makes you feel as if you're a fan of Xbox, you're a fan of Microsoft. I'm curious how this makes you feel. For me, I have 4 Xboxes in my home. I have 2 Series X, one here, one here. I have a Series S upstairs, and I have Xbox One S sitting over there. So I own a lot of these consoles, but does it instill any faith in you in the Xbox brand, which has been on a bit of a decline, I guess you could say, this year? Does it instill any faith in you that this is happening, that they're letting all these people go? It's very sad for people to lose their jobs, and also not to know that they're losing their jobs until the news stories release. That's one of the worst things, in my opinion, is that the employees weren't giving consideration. These talented employees. My only hope is that the employees that suffered this can find their way to another game studio to showcase their talents. I know that Amazon, or is it Amazon or Netflix? I think it's Netflix that's doing a lot of hiring right now in their gaming division. So hopefully these folks can land on their feet. But for me as an Xbox, I have a couple of Xboxes in my house, man. I just don't know what things look like for them going forward. They don't have any real games that make you want to play on that console. Starfield was their most recent entry, and that was received okay. I think it was about a 7 across the board, a 7 out of 10 if I'm remembering the reviews correctly. And they do have an update coming out next week, actually 1 week from today, to Starfield. But beyond that, I don't know what Microsoft's plans are. It seems like they're kind of dropping the ball on all these studios that they've acquired, and they're not really fulfilling on the initial promises that they made. So I'm curious to see how that plays out going forward. And I wish all those employees the best. But Microsoft, that was kind of stupid. I didn't really I didn't really like the way that you did that. But I don't run a business either. I don't run $1 trillion business, and I don't understand what goes into that. But from the outside looking in, it looks like you did a bunch of employees dirty, and you didn't fulfill the promises that you made when you bought those those studios. Okay, it's thundering. I don't know if you can hear the thunder, but it's thundering outside. So if the stream automatically stops, it's because the thunder has disrupted the internet or something like that. But yeah, that was our first story. I'm pretty bummed out about that one. That's the bad news. And I don't know why I started with the bad news, but we've got two better stories that we want to discuss today. Um, that was number one. So that was Xbox, and then we'll get into story number two. And here it is. And we're taking this article, we're borrowing it from Polygon. So let's read this together. Nintendo finally admits it's making the Switch 2. Now listen, we're no dum-dums. We kind of knew that Nintendo was making a successor to the Switch. And I would say during this generation of consoles that the Nintendo Switch for me is my number one played console. I play my PlayStation a lot for the social aspect. A lot of my buddies, if they're playing any video games, it's 90% of the time it's on the PlayStation. Um, I play my Xbox sometimes for whatever exclusives they've got, which, as I just mentioned, isn't many, but 90, no, I won't say 90, that's an exaggeration. I'd say 75% of the time I'm playing my Switch. I take it most places with me. I take it to bed with me every night. Whether I play it or not is a different story because I get tired when I'm in the bed, but I generally have it with me at all times. Okay. So Nintendo admitting that they're making the Switch 2, it seems like a no-brainer. We kind of knew that that was going to happen, but we finally got some dates that are going to make sense. And I don't know what your thoughts were, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on when you thought the Nintendo Switch successor would be coming out, and what you think it's going to be like. But we finally got a few answers. So Nicole Carpenter at Sweet Potatoes, thank you so much for this news story. It says, we will make an announcement about the successor to the Nintendo Switch within this fiscal year. So if I understand how fiscal years work, I think they start in like September or something like that, and then they go until the next September. So it looks like we should get an announcement before September. But the reason we can say this is because Shintaro Furukawa acknowledged Nintendo is making a Switch successor, which is really hard to say, called Switch 2 by many, albeit not by Nintendo. What does that mean? In a message coinciding with the company's fiscal year financial results. Yes, we knew the Nintendo Switch successor was coming, but Nintendo had said nothing about the console ahead of Furukawa's message. He says, this is Furukawa, president of Nintendo. We will make an announcement about the successor to the Nintendo Switch within this fiscal year. It will have been over 9 years since we announced the existence of Nintendo Switch back in March 2015. We will be holding a Nintendo Direct, hold on while this loads, regarding this in June. regarding the Nintendo Switch software lineup for the latter half of 2024, but please be aware that there will be no mention of the Nintendo Switch successor during that presentation. So that's essentially what they said. And there's been a lot of rumors about this Nintendo Switch. Some people are calling it the Super Nintendo Switch. The truth is, nobody knows what it's going to be. Nobody knows. But all we know is that it's coming, and I want at least two of them. When the initial Nintendo Switch came out, I bought two of them, and the reason I bought two of them, it was actually quite innocent. I felt like they were going to sell out. So I ordered both SKUs. I ordered the neon one with the red and blue Joy Cons, and I ordered the gray one from the same store because I was afraid that they were going to sell out. Now I wasn't going to be caught wondering if I was going to get one. So I ended up ordering two, and I kept two, and I eventually, I think currently my nephew has one of them. I think my brother has one of my Switches. I don't know. I've bought a lot of Switches. I think over the lifespan, which we just mentioned, is about 8 to 9 years. I think I've had about four, maybe five Nintendo Switches, just because I play them so much. And then they released the OLED version. But I want to know from you what your thoughts are on a new Nintendo Switch. What do you want? For me, let's talk about me. This is what this is all about. We're talking about me. Here's what I want from a Nintendo Switch. Currently, this is my Switch right here. It's the OLED version. I've got a matte screen protector on it. And you asked me what would I like from a new Nintendo Switch. And currently, I use the cracked Nitro deck. I have two of these cracked Nitro decks just for comfort purposes. I cannot play a Nintendo Switch in handheld mode without some kind of accessory like this, just due to the size of my hands. I don't know if you can. I don't know a lot of people. There's the thunder again. I don't know a lot of people that play their Nintendo Switch without any kind of case or protection on it. So if I'm describing my perfect Nintendo Switch, it would be something that is more comfortable to hold ergonomically, something a little bit heftier, a little bit bigger. And what's interesting is with the Joy Cons, even holding a Nintendo Switch with just the Joy Cons on, it feels unstable. It doesn't feel sturdy. So I would like something a little bit more sturdy. A bigger screen would be nice. OLED out the gate would be beautiful, but I don't know if we'll get that. It took us, I think, 4, maybe 5 years before Nintendo announced the OLED version of the Switch. So I'm not sure that we'll get that out the gate. I'm not sure what we'll get out the gate, but I'm just excited that another one is coming. Reports are stating, and I don't know if I have that news article up, but I'm 99% sure that it'll be backwards compatible with our current cartridges. And I don't know if you're like me and you have tons of Nintendo Switch cartridges, but I do. In my little case here, I've got tons of Nintendo Switch cartridges, so it would be super disappointing if a new Switch came out and it was not compatible with those old cartridges. So I believe that we will see backwards compatibility. I do hope that the Joy-Cons, they've learned their lesson from the current Nintendo Switch with the Joy-Cons. I hope that they're able to recognize that they need to make something that doesn't offer stick drift after 1 month of usage. I hope that they do that. So beyond that, I don't know what else I want. I don't really care about 4K. It would be nice to see processing power that could guarantee 60 frames per second on most Nintendo Switch games. That would be beautiful, but I don't know if that's a priority for Nintendo. And the reason I say that is when we think back years and what Nintendo has done, Nintendo has made consoles that were usually unique, kind of weird, and they haven't really focused on power in their consoles. So it's kind of like, I mean, I'm sure Nintendo will just do another Nintendo thing and they'll make it a little underpowered, but their games will really shine on it, which has been historically what's been the case as far back as we can remember. So I'm excited for a new Nintendo Switch, and it's nice to see some kind of word from Nintendo on what they're doing and when we can expect it. So I'm kind of thrilled about that. But we do have a Nintendo Direct, they said, scheduled for June, so that's next month. We should expect a Nintendo Direct, but again, they mentioned that there will be no discourse about the new Nintendo Switch on that console. They said that they're just gonna kind of announce their next games that are going to be in the second half of 2024. So it gives us time, and I'm kind of thankful for it. If I'm being honest, I'm kind of thankful that the Nintendo Switch is not coming out this year, because it gives us time to finish up the games that we have not finished on our current consoles. If you're like me, I've got 30, 40 games that I need to complete. Will I complete them? I'll probably complete one or two of them, but at least it gives us the time to try to complete some of the games that they promised and that they've released to us. So I'm excited about that. So good news from Nintendo. We do have confirmation that we will get a Nintendo Switch 2, and we'll get an announcement about it this fiscal year, just not in June. So that's cool. That's cool. We're excited about that. So that was news story number 2. If you guys have any news stories you want to talk about, let me know as I hydrate. So news story number 3 is one that I kind of saw coming out of nowhere. So I'll take a quick 1 minute, and we'll be right back with the next news story. Welcome back, folks. News story number 3. Kind of insane, kind of out of nowhere. I don't know if you guys were kind of paying attention to this. I didn't expect this at all, but Nintendo announced a new game today. 2 hours ago, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition was announced. I was of the mind that with the Nintendo Switch ending its life cycle, that we weren't going to get too many games this year. Let's think about what we got. We got Princess Peach Showtime. We got Super Mario RPG. We're getting Paper Mario Thousand Year Door and Luigi's Mansion 2 on Switch later this year. Actually, Paper Mario's coming next month. That's exciting. But I wasn't thinking that we were going to get too many titles as Nintendo kind of wrapped up the year. It's first party titles I'm talking about. First party titles made by Nintendo. I didn't think we were going to get that many. So I'm kind of hyped that we're getting something. So let's watch this trailer together. If you guys are cool with it, we'll watch this Nintendo World Championships NES Edition announcement trailer. So let me pause the music. We'll watch this trailer together. You guys hear that?
I'd like to welcome you all to the Nintendo World Championships. Electric crowd here. The batteries are charged.
Before I walked out on the stage, I was incredibly nervous. It was my first time in that sort of environment.
Let me try to fix this this audio real quick. Hold on.
The audience is insane. Wild.
I'm having the best time of my life here.
There were lasers everywhere, the music was blasting, and you're on stage and everybody's cheering and everybody's... I mean, my mom's the loudest person in the audience, right? You can hear her over everybody else.
I'm excited to go on stage, I'm excited to play, and I'm going to do the best I can.
Some unbelievable performances that we saw in this first round.
Am I going to walk out of here the best of the best? Or am I just going to be another average gamer? It was a lot of emotions at once that me as the 12-year-old was kind of thrown into. Like, this is really like the top level.
Those moments are what this championship was made.
There was a few people who I felt like very gifted at games. It just happened to be my own.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a new Nintendo World Champion.
After the competition,
Hold on, it's getting to the good point.
I can do better.
I can come back. I can have some sort of redemption arc.
Here we go.
In my living room?
Here we go, y'all.
Bring the
Nintendo World
with the Nintendo
Championships.
World Championships NES Edition game. Challenges include racing to grab the Super Mushroom, defeating the Octoroks as fast as you can, reaching the gate as quickly as possible, and so many more. Take on over 150 challenges from across 13 different NES games.
That's pretty cool.
Aim for the best time in speedrun mode. Compete for the top spot in the World Championships weekly global online leaderboards. Or take the competition to the couch with up to 8 players in party mode. Nintendo World Championships NES Edition launches July 18th on Nintendo eShop. Nintendo World Championships NES Edition Deluxe Set will also be available, containing a gold-colored replica cartridge.
That's pretty cool.
Cards, 5 pins, and a physical game card. Pre-orders are available now on Nintendo eShop.
Okay. And then this guy comes at the end of the trailer who used to do the Nintendo World Championships, which is pretty cool. So, what are my immediate thoughts as we look at that? So let's get out of that video. And this is the news story from Nintendo.com, essentially saying Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, which I'll key in on that in a second. It says Nintendo brings home white knuckle speed run competition with Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. How quickly could you collect a room full of coins in Super Mario Bros. Or snag the sword at the start of Legend of Zelda? Or clear the entire first course in Super Mario Bros. 3? Could you do it faster than your friends? Okay, can you do it faster than the rest of the world? Well, it's time to find out. On July 18th, which is 2 months, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition game kicks off its worldwide, or just living room bound competition on the Nintendo Switch family of systems. So while we really saw this story come out of nowhere, let me zoom in on this this image here. It looks like it comes with a gold NES cart, which is cool. Looks like some pins here, 5 pins, which I want. A box, the game itself, and it looks like some artwork here. Not a huge fan of artwork, but I'll take it. Is this a steelbook? Because I love steelbooks. Oh, it says right here. I should have read this. It says the Nintendo World Championships NES Edition Deluxe Set. This special edition includes a physical version of the game, a set of 5 collectible pins, 13 art cards commemorating each of the featured NES classics, and a replica of the fabled gold-colored NES game pack for display-only stand included to commemorate the 1990 Nintendo World Championships event, perfect for collectors and raising above your head in victory. So that's kind of cool. Test your metal against speedrun challenges taken from these NES titles. Is it really only 15? Balloon Fight, Donkey Kong, Excite Bike, Ice Climber. We used to play Ice Climber all the time. Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure, Metroid, Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, 3, and the Lost Levels, Legend of Zelda, and Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. $59? Okay, we got to be realistic here. What we're offering, $59 is kind of insane, considering with your Nintendo Online subscription, you can play most of these things for free. You don't have to get the speedrun editions where you play these little 6-second events. You can play most of these games for free with the included NES games that they have on the Switch already. So $59, and Nintendo always does this, y'all. So let's not be surprised, but let me switch back. With these applications on your Nintendo Switch right now, we've got N64, Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, Sega Genesis. If you have an online subscription, you can play most of these already with the cost of your membership. So do we really want to pay $60 for this game? I already pre-ordered it, so yes. But for a lot of consumers, I don't know if this is a yes. Just being honest, because I don't know how often we're going to play this. And one thing that's notable, I don't know if y'all picked up on it, but I did. It said, said something about just playing it on your couch. So does that mean there's no online? It doesn't say that there's online. It says 8 players, beating your own best times in the single player speedrun mode, unlocking new challenges and unique in-game pins, then up to 8 players can complete locally in party mode. Nintendo Switch Online members can also enter World Championships mode to submit their best times in 5 challenges that rotate each week and compete for a spot on the global leaderboard. So it sounds like you're really just submitting your best scores online. It doesn't sound like there's any online interaction. So for $60, for the edition that we showed, which is the physical edition here, this edition right here is $59.99, but the digital edition of the game appears to be $29.99. So which one do you think? Do you think $29 is worth it? Or do you think that's still too much? I don't really know. The challenges look kind of cool. Based off these 15 games, it looks like there's multiple challenges. But what do you think? I don't know how I feel about the price. I think it's a cool collector's item, which is why I'm in. But for the gameplay, for most people who don't collect Nintendo stuff, is that worth the cost of entry for $59.99 for that collector's edition or $29.99 for the digital edition? I don't like digital copies of Nintendo stuff personally, so I'm all in for the physical. But do you think that price is appropriate? I don't know. I'm excited to see more about it, and it kind of makes me wonder when we think about that title, Nintendo World Championships NES edition. Could we get a Super Nintendo edition? Could we get a Nintendo 64, a GameCube edition? I don't know. But it kind of reminds me of, what was that game from the Wii U? I know a lot of people didn't play the Wii U, but Wii U I don't even know how to spell, y'all. Hold on. Wii U NES Remix. There they are. So these games, even the cover looks kind of similar. NES Remix Pack. Let's look at the images of this bad boy right here. Yeah, y'all remember this. I mean, I think I have a copy of it back there. NES Classics Return with a twist. So is this kind of a reskin of this? Because I see Kid Icarus, I see Mario, I see Metroid, I see Donkey Kong. Is this similar to what we had on the Wii U? It seems like it, but maybe reskinned, retitled. I don't know. I remember this, this disc on the Wii U, and the Wii U was the most disrespected console of all time in my book. So it wouldn't surprise me if they bring back some challenges, maybe that were featured here. I think there was 2. Was there 2 of these? 2? Remix 2? Oh, this is the pack with both of them. So yeah, there was 2, but they're featured both. They got Super Punch. Oh, they should put some Punch Out challenges on that, y'all. I don't think Punch Out was one of the ones that was mentioned. Balloon Fight, Donkey Kong, Excite Bike, Ice Climber, Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure, Mario, Zelda. No. So no Punch Out on there, but Punch Out was like a game that was really close to my heart when I was younger. But yeah, those are our news stories today. So this is an exciting game. I wasn't expecting this coming. I don't know that many people were, but that's pretty cool to see that even though we're not getting the Nintendo Switch 2 until sometime in 2025. Nintendo's still trying to support their hardware with some of this stuff. So is it the game everybody wants? Is it Metroid Prime 4? No. But it is something to kind of pacify us until the next system releases. So this is kind of cool to see. We'll see what else Nintendo has up their sleeve at that Nintendo Direct next month. At the beginning or sometime in June. They didn't say when in June. They just said June. So anyway, that's pretty cool. And those are our 3 news stories. Again, we're upset with Microsoft for firing thousands of people, I'm sure, without informing those people. We are happy that the Nintendo Switch is making a Switch 2. We knew it was going to happen, but we're happy about it. And we're curious to see what's the gimmick this time. Are we still going to have the Joy-Cons? My question is, are the Joy-Cons going to be compatible? All the 14 pairs of Joy-Cons that I have here, are those compatible, or should I just start selling those on eBay? And then finally, Nintendo World Championships NES edition. It's pretty cool. I'm excited to see more from that. So you tell me. This video will be up on Twitch and on YouTube, so let me know what you thought. Let me know what you like. But that's our stories for today. We'll try to be back as often as possible to talk about what's going on in the gaming world and news world, and we'll try to upload some clips from this show to to some social channels if I can figure out how to do it, and that'll be good. But thank you so much if you hung out with me today. Thank you for being here. We're glad to be able to do a show like this. We should be doing it more often, and hope you guys can tune in when we do. So thank you so much for being here, y'all. But that's it. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you another time. Take care.